Hello and thanks for tuning in to In the News here at globaltalkradio.com. Today we're speaking with musician, singer, and songwriter Cabot Barden. He's also author of It's the Bass Player. Cabot, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's jump right in. What made you decide to write about your experiences in a band? I mean, was it your friends perhaps telling you that you should write a book because nobody else would believe the amazing things you experienced?
Well, actually, I started thinking about writing after I read a couple of Clive Cussler's books, and reading those back in the 80s. But I didn't have the knowledge or experience he had to write mystery and adventure novels, so I just thought I'd write about what I knew, which is the music business.
Now, how much of the band's story is real and taken out of their real-life adventures?
About 80% of the story is true. Concert at the end never happened, though, because we were offered a chance to do the concert, but we never got to do it. Several other opportunities were given to us back then, but we didn't follow up on them. Being young, we just didn't think that far ahead.
Well, how about Toby and Nancy? They're a pair in the book. Do they live happily ever after?
Well, in my second book, which just came out, called Mixed Blessings, they actually ended up getting married and having kids. My second book came out first week in April this year.
Now, there is a part in book, I think it's the night at the American Legion Post, which is actually a little bit hard to read, where the African-American couple are accosted. Did it really happen like that?
Yeah, it did. When we saw what happened to that poor man, we figured we were scared for our own lives, because those old people in that place, they didn't like rock musicians either. They didn't like black people or rock people. But they tolerated our music because we did a lot of country for them. But after the gunshots came through the door that night, we just wanted to get out of there alive and not ever come back. Fights were pretty typical in most of what we call redneck bars in those days. There was one bar in my hometown where the saying was, if you didn't have a gun or knife when you came in the door, they'd issue you one.
Well, you know, your band, just like many of the others, went through a lot of changes, personnel changes over the years. How much of that actually goes in to change the music that the band produces?
Well, personnel changes didn't affect us that much because we were always learning new tunes every week anyway. There was always something new on the radio to learn. As long as there's three of us in the band, you know, three nucleus, what we call ourselves, the Three Musketeers, we had that nucleus, so we held it together pretty good.
Now, like many bands and many people in our own lives, I mean, the band was very close to making it very big, even cutting a record, and then you guys hit a little bit of a speed bump. When you were writing, did you ever think about maybe changing that story a bit? Yeah,
I seriously thought about going along those lines of the band actually making it, but then I decided I'd put that in the second book. In the second book, they actually opened for Steppenwolf and cut a record and opened for James Taylor and become Nashville studio musicians.
Well, so you had actually an interesting way to kind of discourage those young groupies from following you guys, right? You told them to become pen pals. How did that work out?
Well, I had several pen pals, girls that wrote me for a while, but then they stopped usually because I couldn't go see them regularly or anything like that. I'd usually stop writing them anyway if I started dating one girl, and most of those so-called groupies were usually under 15, so we didn't consider dating them much anyway.
Hey, now you mentioned that in real life the concert never happened, but you do have that wonderful concert at the end of your book, and there are some great rock stars there as well. Can you talk for a minute about who you decided to include in that story, and are these people that are these like your favorite or your mentors in the business?
Well, one of my favorite bands is 309. It's always been one of my favorites. We didn't really get to play with them in that last concert like I really wanted to. We had the opportunity, like I said, but we didn't follow up on it. We did get to meet Steve Winwood in Traffic at Fame Studios when they were recording up there and most of the shows. It seemed every time 309 was anywhere in the area, we were always playing that night, so we didn't ever get to see them. But in the 80s, I got to be in a band, and we opened for Emmylou Harris and Mickey Gilley. And one of the pictures in the first book is a picture of me and Mickey Gilley standing there. In the 90s, me and the other two Musketeers got to open for Georgia Satellites, Jan and Dean and Grayson Hugh, and work with the drummer for the group Alabama. And then when I moved to Nashville, in '95, I really did get to meet John Kay of Steppenwolf, and we had a great conversation. So that's pretty much the groups I've been around.
Well, how about that? So it actually is possible to bump into stars in Nashville.
Yeah, it's real easy.
Hey, Cabot, your book is It's the Bass Player, and your brand new book is Mixed Blessings. Can you tell listeners where we can find more about you and your books?
Amazon.com has both books. Barnes & Noble, you can order them through Barnes & Noble. eKindle's carrying them, ebook, and that's about mainly the companies that are carrying it right now. I think Books A Million is going to start carrying it very soon.
Well, congratulations on your second release, and we've been speaking with Cabot Barden, and it's the Bass Player and Mixed Blessings are his books. We'll put a link up to Amazon for you. And Cabot, thank you very much for being part of our program.
Thank you for having me.